one's tuned in yet, I'm sorry, I am not here. Let me just set up this very quick. Shit, it's not working right. Okay, good. Let's see. Okay, everyone, what's up? I'm just gonna tweet this out very quickly and then we're good to go. It's a shame it... Damn it. Why did it tweet it out or announce itself as Fallout 4? That's... Come on. Stupid YouTube. Let me just tweet this out. 1 second. This is very professional, isn't it? Alright. That should be it. Just like 5 minutes into it. Awesome. Okay. Let's do this. And of course we're gonna do Grounded. What, do you think I'm a pussy? I haven't played this game in like months and I'm gonna do Grounded. I'm gonna do well. Okay. It's a shame it fucking notified people as Fallout 4. That's so stupid. I don't know why it did that. Oh well. Let's do this.
Tommy, listen to me. He is the contractor. He's the contractor, okay? I can't lose this job. I understand.
What's up, Fobber? How are you doing?
We'll talk about it in the morning.
Är det kallt i Finland, eller?
Good night.
Hey.
Scoot.
Monday at work, huh?
What are you still doing up? It's late.
Crud, what time is it?
It's way past your bedtime.
But it's still today.
Honey, please not right now. I do not have the energy for this.
Here.
What's this?
We got a whopping 4 people in chat. That's awesome. I haven't streamed in a while, so it suits me.
You kept complaining about your broken watch. So, figured, you know. You like it?
Honey, this is... It's nice, but I think it's stuck. It's not...
What? No. Oh, ha ha.
Where did you get the money for this?
Oh, what's up, Alex?
I sell hardcore drugs.
Oh, good. You started helping out with the
You
mortgage.
doing alright?
Yeah, you wish.
I love this song. Or this version of the Last of Us soundtrack. I think Neil actually said sometime that this specific piece was created like for a marketing event before The Last of Us released, and they just thought it was so good they actually put it in the game. I can't remember exactly when or where I saw that, but yeah. That was pretty cool, actually.
Hello?
Sarah, honey, I need to get your daddy on the phone.
Uncle Tommy?
Gustavo Santaolalla is a real freaking good composer.
Uncle Tommy?
I mean, like, literally like every track in The Last of Us is so great. So, I wanted to do this stream. I see some more people have tuned in now. I wanted to do it to, like, well, not seem as dead as I usually do. So, well, here I am. I am not dead, and I am actually playing The Last of Us for the first time in a really, really long time. And I want to talk to you guys about The Last of Us and stuff.
Dad?
Not gonna focus that much on the game, I just want to have that as a thing. You missed one artifact, Alex. You can actually... It isn't that much of a bummer when you do that, because you can just go back to like a separate save file and collect that specific artifact. So you don't have to collect all of them in one single run. I actually did that when I did my
You in here?
my like achievements run. I missed 2, and I looked it up online, and you can actually just go back to one save file and just collect that one, and you'll get to Platinum. Well, what are you complaining about then, if you know it? Some explosive, I don't know where it goes next. Explosions in Austin, basically.
Dad?
Hur är läget, Kevin? Mår du bra, eller? Hey, what's up, Aiden? How are you doing?
There's his phone.
I always find it quite funny when you check this,
His calls. Where the hell are you?
and it says that
Oh, wait.
he's supposed to have gotten a text at 2:11, and it all and the ringtone goes off, right? But then when you check it, it says no signals. So did it go off like immediately when Sarah picks that up, or is it just like a continuity error? Well, that sucks, Alex.
Where is he?
I guess you gotta do it all again.
There you are.
Sarah, are you okay?
Yeah?
Does anyone come in here?
I like how this is like a... You're supposed to stand back, and there's this like really cool
Stand back there.
separate animation when he just like picks this up, which is
What's going on?
not really meant to be seen.
Something ain't right with them. I think they're sick.
What kind of sick?
Oh Jesus, I knew that, but that still scared me.
Come here. Jimmy. Jimmy, stay back! Jimmy, I am warning you. Don't!
Whoa, shit.
You shot him.
Things are going down.
I saw him this morning.
I wonder what. Do you want me to talk like during cutscenes, or do you want to see them? I guess everyone has seen them so many times, so it doesn't matter.
Tommy, come on.
I don't care, because I played this game literally over 50 times by now, so...
You have any idea
But-
what's going on out there?
Just tell me if you don't want me to, or if you want me to shut up.
You got blood all over you.
It ain't mine. Let's just get out of here.
I'd also like...
People say they lost their minds.
I want to talk about The Last of Us, but I'm not really that good at finding topics, so if anyone has like a question or something,
Later.
or something they want me to like, you want me to give my opinion on something, I'm up for it if you like want to write that down in chat.
Can we hear us on the radio?
Yeah, sure thing.
So yeah,
Thanks.
I do have some things on my phone I could go through as well, but those are basically things I've already covered in videos, but yeah, to like kind of start a conversation going.
He said where to go?
They said, Army's put up roadblocks on the highway. No getting into Travis County.
We need to get the hell out.
When do I think we will get the next trailer for part 2? That is a hard one actually, because
When you're dead?
Found this one family all mangled inside their
Tommy.
house.
I mean, Sony has pulled out of so many events, right? And the only really like big events that's close to us now is the Game Developers Conference or the GDC, and that's like in March, I think. But that's not really a big marketing event. That's more like a developer thing. I mean, Naughty Dog has been there before. Neil Druckmann has had like seminars and things during GDC during previous years, but I don't really know if they would reveal anything there. There's also like PAX going on like right now, or has been going on. I don't really follow that, but since there hasn't been anything from there yet, I don't think we'll get anything from there. It might even be over, I don't know.
Alright.
So I'd wager,
They need.
since we won't get anything at E3, since that's confirmed,
So do we.
But we have room.
I'd wager we
Keep driving.
will have something like, you know, Bethesda marketing. They just put up a random live stream and a countdown, and people like lose their mind. I think there's gonna be something like that. That we get a whole separate event for like each of Sony's exclusive titles, which includes Last of Us Part 2, of course. So it could literally be any time. But I would suspect it's,
Had the same damn idea.
I mean, not like imminent, but quite soon.
Just backtracking.
Like, I mean, maybe in a month's time, hopefully. I don't know.
Tommy.
I definitely think we'll get some like new information before the launch of Days Gone, but like
What just happened?
a trailer or something.
Did you see that? Yes, I saw.
And somewhere down the line we will also get a beta. But I don't know if I answered what you like, the question, all right. But
Running from?
basically, I think we will get something
Oh no.
quite soon at an online event, since they said they would be experimenting with
Behind me too.
new things.
There. Hold on. Go.
Can you hear me alright, or am I like, is it hard to hear me with stuff going on in the game in the background? 2019 or 2020? That is also... That is a big question. I mean, if it is 2019, it'll definitely be like holiday season. Like, I mean, November, December, somewhere around there. Maybe even October, but I can't see it launching earlier than that. I really don't see that happening, because... Well, it's so close to Days Gone, right? And on top of that... Jesus, this thing is loud. Just let me lower this for me a bit. I can't concentrate when it's so loud in my ears. Anyways.
Come here, baby. Come here.
Yeah,
What is it?
I don't think it'll launch that early because...
I don't need to run.
Partly because it will be a detriment to the sales of Days Gone if it launches that close. And also because, well, the marketing will definitely be ramping up now if the launch was that close. I mean, earlier than, like, very late 2019. So, I mean, we would probably have talk on multiplayer. Whenever multiplayer becomes like a talking point for Naughty Dog and Sony, I think that's a good indication that we're close, because that's like one thing of a thing that is finalized like very late in the development cycle, right? I mean, I think The Last of Us Part 1's multiplayer, I heard that somewhere, I can't remember where, but I think it was like developed and finished within 6 months, like at the end of the development cycle. So whenever multiplayer is like teased, we get a beta and all that stuff, that means we're close to release. What is my favorite faction of the Division? I mean, I guess the Division itself, but if you're talking about like enemy factions, the looks, definitely the Cleaners. No, I mean the LMB, but like interesting lore is the Cleaners.
God damn it.
8 months what? What do you mean by 8 months, Alex? Please elaborate.
Keep going. Find a way out of here.
Hey Treb, what's up?
Go.
Oh, you're a mod. I didn't even remember modding you. That's cool.
Get to the highway. Go. You got Sarah. I can outrun him.
I haven't seen your new video yet, Treb. I will check it out though.
Daddy, we can't leave him.
He's gonna be fine.
I don't think so.
We're almost there.
They're getting closer.
Oh, they created factions in 8 months? Yeah, okay. That sounds reasonable. It's the medieval siege weapon, yes. Catapult. Trebuchet.
I think her leg is broken.
Stop right there!
You're not sick.
Got a couple of civilians on the outer perimeter. Please advise.
Daddy, what about Uncle Tommy?
I haven't actually played The Last of Us, like, at all for
There's a little girl.
at least 2 months. I did do some, like, drag shot practice at the Financial Plus Arc chapter, like,
Just need...
maybe at the end of November. But I haven't played The Last of Us, like, nothing. I mean, that might sound crazy because I've done videos on it and I'm a big The Last of Us guy, but I've just been so incredibly burnt out on it. It's crazy.
Move your hands, baby.
Yes, I know. That was so stupid. Why? That's probably why so few people are tuning in, because
Baby, stay with me.
I wrote The Last of Us in
I know, baby. I know it hurts.
in the title
Come on, baby.
when I started the stream from the Elgato software. But then YouTube freaking says Fallout 4 still.
Sarah,
I hate when YouTube does crap like that.
baby.
It's fucking stupid. It makes me mad. A lot of people are probably not gonna see this stream just because it said that. Not that, like, amount of viewers are super important, but it would be cool if it reached more people. That's what I'm saying. Kevin says, tror du att det finns någon chans att Naughty Dog kan lansera Part 2 Story Mode först? He basically asks if there's a chance that Naughty Dog would launch the story before multiplayer. I don't know actually, because
The governor has called a state of emergency.
judging by their previous releases, I'd say no. Because, well, they have done like betas and stuff before. With Uncharted 4, for example, they did have a multiplayer beta like 2 months before launch.
Residents are required to report
Just to test out the multiplayer to get it working in time. Of course, everything is a possibility with Naughty Dog. You don't really know because they're so tight-lipped about everything, but I doubt they would go down that route unless Sony got some weird idea in their minds.
Of 6 more alleged fireflies.
You can still rise with us.
Yeah, Treb. I mean, YouTube is always pretty weird, but this is pretty annoying.
Believe in the fireflies.
I'm probably gonna get very, very wrecked, since this is grounded.
I'm coming.
I won't be playing for that long, maybe at most like an hour more from now.
How was your morning?
I gotta go out. I don't gotta, but I want to go out with some friends, have some beers, spend my wage. Just came in today because it's the 25th. Yeah.
Well, I have some interesting news.
So,
Where were you, Tess?
West End District. Hey, we had a drop to make.
We had a drop to make.
Well, you wanted to be left alone, remember?
So I'll take one guess. The whole deal went south and the client made off with our pills. Is that about right?
Deal went off.
hey, 11 people. That's cool.
Action cards to last us a couple of months. Easy.
I think the most people I've ever had on stream
On my way back here.
was when T-Strats shouted out
Yeah, they
my
got
stream on Outbreak Day after I was on his stream. And that was like 18 people. That was insane. That whole day was insane. If I look like in my YouTube analytics, it's like a spike.
It's fine, I
Like
knew they were.
double the size of any other days in the history of my channel.
fucking sent them.
Our Robert.
He knows that we're after him. He figures he's gonna get us first.
Yeah, just stop talking now. I want to play.
He's not smart enough. I know where he's hiding.
Like hell you do.
Old warehouse in Area 5. Can't say
Well,
how long though.
anyone wanna pose some more questions so that I don't sit there as a stupid idiot? I've never been that good at commentary. That's why I always do scripted videos, actually. I would like to be good at commentary, live commentary. I guess the only way to get good is to,
Checkpoint's still on.
practice makes perfect, right? But
Until curfew.
I'm a bit scared to embarrass myself while practicing. And I guess my content isn't really that good for... Oh, that's cool, Sparta. I appreciate it. Get good? Yeah, just start talking. I mean, it's hard. I'm not like a talkative person overall. I just sit by myself in my room and without pants in my mom's basement, of course. That's where all gamers sit, don't they? Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but that's basically what I do. Nightwalker says he wants to play part 2. Well, I want to do that too. Believe it or not. I mean, yeah. Well, everyone has seen this. Let's just move on. 12 people. That's a people record for today. Just like a quick thought. It's interesting. Like, I mean, the lore argument for some zones surviving and some not surviving is that, well, some places got a heads up before. And, I mean, look at that. That's a big fucking wall. I mean, even if those, like, are prefab pieces that they just put together, which it looks like, I mean, that's gotta take a long time to put together. And imagine, like, a place as big as Boston with this many people. That's gotta be a lot of chaos if people start getting infected and, like, overrun places. How the hell did they have time to put that up? That's just crazy to me. I mean, I've theorized before that the outbreak was like a slow crawling thing that like popped up in some places and then like went nationwide, but still, that is a lot of fucking work. Pardon my French, but still, how is that possible? Because when you go to like Pittsburgh, there's like tiny fences instead of like 30 feet walls. That's, I mean, I don't want to criticize it, but it almost seems a bit unrealistic, to be fair. Oh, that's a few comments. Oh, that, right. Let me just sprint in here before I talk to you guys.
Checkpoint 5 is now closed until further notice. All civilians must...
Okay, are you gonna get the Resident Evil 2 remake? It looks gorgeous. When it comes to horror games, I'm a coward. I mean, let's just not sugarcoat it, right? I'm a coward. It took a long time for me to get to grips, like, with The Last of Us horror elements, and The Last of Us is not a horror game. So, oh, right, I gotta change it. My sister was actually playing The Last of Us a while ago. I think that was the last time I even opened the game, and she wanted to use these controls. So, no, but I don't really play horror games, just not because they're not good games. I can acknowledge that. I've seen so many horror game playthroughs on YouTube, and I really enjoy watching them because it's not me getting scared. But playing them myself, I mean, I'd like to, but I'm too much of a pussy is what I'm trying to say. So, well, unless it's on sale, probably not. Faba asks, where do you think they get their resources from, the military? I mean, probably salvaging, mostly, I'd say, since there's like a whole country of raw materials everywhere. And Bill says, like, there's this patrol that goes through every week in Lincoln, right? So I'd say that they send people out in, like, all directions and gather up stuff and break it down and produce new things in factories. But the one thing they can't do that with is fuel. So fuel, I would say that they get from some, like, single remaining oil rig somewhere that's out in the sea somewhere, basically. Or maybe an oil field. The US has a lot of, like, oil fields on land, so they could have one of those as well. But other than that, I think they are scavengers too, but they take it up a notch and they produce new things from the salvage. Okay, James Stirs, your TV broke a month ago. Oh, that is a pain. You can't play The Last of Us? That's terrible, man. I mean, I'm burned out on it, but when I have my periods when I play it so freaking much, it's like abstinence, man. When I can't play The Last of Us, it's crazy. I feel your pain. I feel your pain. Actually, this is well, it's not a funny story, but it's a story, alright? So, like a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years ago, my PS4 just went up and broke on me. And I didn't know what it was. It just broke, and I didn't have the money to buy a new one. And that's where The Last of Us was. I was like a Factions fanatic by then, and I played so much Factions it was consuming my life. So I was starting to go crazy. So what I did was to dig up my old. Let's just reload this. I digged up my old PS3, and I bought The Last of Us for it because I didn't buy The Last of Us on PS3 at first. I bought it on remastered for the first time, and then I played on PS3 for like 6 months until I had the money to repair my PS4. But that like little time in between when I couldn't play and I didn't know what to do, that was so freaking painful. So I do feel your pain, James. Okay, let's continue on the supply lines thing. I'm sorry, I just want to get back to people if it takes long for me to respond to comments. But they gotta have supply lines to get the resources to those things. Well, yeah, they do. But I wouldn't say like they have mines where they like dig out new minerals. I would just say that they go out and take that from broken things and they ship it back to the zones. So, and I don't think the zones are much like dependent on each other. I think they might have been to like the start of the outbreak, but as soon as like things got bad and communications broke down, I think every zone pretty much had to fend for themselves.
Great, bring it over.
Hey TheiPadCat, how is it going? Says Baron Welter. Text is so fucking tiny, I'm sorry. I am doing great. I'm going out with my friends for a couple of beers later, and I'm excited for that because I want to get drunk, get funny, maybe post some stupid shit in the Discord server, who knows. How are you doing?
Ladies first.
Lady, you must be thinking of something else.
Oh, I remember that, Alex, about that
This way.
we discussed that in the Discord like a while back, with the car thing. That could be like, there was this game, I don't know if you know it, but it was a terrible game. It was called The Walking Dead Survival Instinct. It was for last gen, and it was basically based around Daryl and Merle from the show, like in the early seasons, before the show even began. It was their like road trip into Atlanta. And it was basically like an entire game based around that concept.
Down through here.
Where Daryl and Merle would like travel through the country roads of Georgia.
Once we get our merchandise.
And like stop for supplies somewhere, like an entire game based around that chapter. And I haven't played it myself, but I've seen playthroughs of it, and although it is pretty bad, the concept is very cool, and I do agree that that would be a great level, Alex. Do the quarantine zones have contact with each other?
Stay alert.
I don't. Well, there is this letter in Pittsburgh, right? Where like I can't remember, but there. Oh, I'm walking the wrong way. See, I'm so focused on talking with you guys, I'm walking the wrong way. No. But when the shit was going down in Pittsburgh and it was all falling apart, there was this letter correspondence between two of the zones, but
Not that old.
I think that's an exception, not the rule. I think that most zones pretty much had to fend for themselves once everything went down. Because the major cities in the US, the zones are only based in the major cities. They're so far apart, for the most part. And with like a country full of infected monsters everywhere, I just don't think it's feasible that they would have a postal service going between them at all.
Poor bastard.
After that, but that may have resumed once things had calmed down a bit. But for the most part, like in the beginning of the outbreak, after communications went down, they were probably not in contact. Well, this is grounded. There's not going to be any reason. I don't even think there's resources there on the normal playthrough. I'm getting overwhelmed by talking about all these comments. Do you think they had contact? No, that I already talked about that. A lot of QZ related. Well, it's alright. I think the quarantine zones are a very interesting thing about The Last of Us because it's so unique to the post-apocalyptic genre, right? Because, well, most of the time, like, any semblance of government or state is just gone. And that's a bit of a cliche that I dislike, so I'm fine with talking about the QZs. There is a letter from the San Francisco... Yeah, there is, but that is not a military-controlled quarantine zone. That is a Firefly base, actually, a Nightwalker. And yes, there are letters from... When you check in Pittsburgh, like a private there, I think... You want to see me do a sick headshot right now? That was not a sick headshot. That was not a sick headshot. I'm gonna die. Oh my god, are you fucking serious? Am I gonna die on the first encounter? No, but in Pittsburgh, when shit was going down, there was like the command in Atlanta was talking to the people in Pittsburgh, and they were like having the plans to salvage the situation, and when things gone from bad to worse there, I think the Atlanta like commanding officer assumed control over what was left of the Pittsburgh forces. So there definitely is or has been some communication between the quarantine zones, but I don't think it's very extensive. Also, you gotta prepare for me dying a lot, because one, I haven't played The Last of Us in ages, and two, this is grounded mode, so that's a recipe for disaster. I always thought this was funny. I noticed that a while ago, but that is not like a rendering. It's not like loading is slow, it's like permanently like that. Like, Naughty Dog has a lot of attention to detail, but that cracks me up a bit. Is it not that one? Oh, I can't even remember this. This is a bad sign.
Through here. Cover the entrance.
I got it.
I just gotta check my phone real quick. Give me a sec. Okay, that's good.
Damn it. Plank fell down.
Be a dear, would you? Or is that what she says? I can't remember. Yeah. Where is the exit thing? Oh, it's right there. Great. Do you reckon the president or a new president is alive? No, I don't. Actually, I don't think there is. Because we don't know. This is my personal theory, but judging by the intro credit scene, and I think if you've seen my video on that, you would understand that better. But I think there is no solid evidence, but I think that when shit went down and Fedra was called upon to aid in the relief effort and to basically set up disaster aid and all that stuff, but then they were like handed control over, like the relief effort was like going hand in hand with the military effort, right? So at some point Fedra did seize control and probably committed a coup, which means that like commanding officers and people within Fedra probably do have the control, and the president, the president might actually be alive now that I'm thinking of it. They might be like sealed off in a bunker somewhere, but I don't think they're a part of the Fedra control. But I think basically Fedra went rogue, and that is what's left of the state. So whoever is at the top of Fedra is probably the leader of, the former leader of the United States. Yeah, there might be like this enclave faction, but that's just locked off with like high up officials from the United States government in bunkers across the country. But I don't think they have any influence on Fedra. I definitely think Fedra did go rogue and took over. After the first grounded playthrough, it gets pretty easy. Yeah, it does get easy, but I'm so incredibly rusty right now. It'll still be pretty hard.
Not right now, Terrence.
No, it's good. Look,
Not
I the car.
now. You hear me?
Okay. Can do that.
Also, did you know that there's like conversation with like passive conversation interaction with all of these?
Keep your shirt on.
I guess you knew that. That's not that big of a detail.
These dogs are all accounted for. Sold out in less than an hour. Try me next week.
Well, yeah.
You touch it, you buy it.
Sass.
That's pretty bad customer service, don't you think?
Where do you think you're going?
I really hope we get to see like another active quarantine zone in part 2. That would be awesome. Difficult question. Who do you like more, Joel or Ellie?
Who's that?
No headache. Don't ask.
When I first played The Last of Us, actually when I first saw someone play The Last of Us, because here's the thing, I spoiled it all for myself. I was a huge PewDiePie fan back when The Last of Us launched in 2013. So naturally, I didn't really follow like the development or the thesis of The Last of Us. I think I saw some trailers before release, but it didn't really intrigue me that much. So I didn't plan to get it. So I just watched PewDiePie's playthrough. And when I did that, and then when I later played it myself, I was so fascinated by Ellie. I thought she was such a good, like, well-written character, and she had like a really good evolution throughout the game. And I guess since I was like the same age as her at the time, maybe I was like had a bit of a crush on her. I mean, that might sound a bit weird, but yeah. Okay, this is gonna be pretty hard. But as time has gone on, actually I've come to like Joel more. And that might be just like a reaction to Joel not having any spotlight at all with part 2. But I relate to Joel a lot. Not that I'm not a middle-aged man. I'm not going through like my family dying and the world ending. But it's something I really find about Joel that's very relatable, and he's a very, very good character. So I can't really say at the moment. I'd say Joel, but I have preferred Ellie in the past. So yeah, I can't answer that concretely.
Get the angle on this.
Okay, I'm just gonna get this out of the way before I talk anymore. Oh man, I gotta lower the sensitivity. I know I'm a scrub. I gotta put it on the lowest because I know I'm gonna increase it later, but I just gotta get into it. You see there? That's freaking drag shots. I'm great at this. Treb says, be right back. Fun fact, Fedra is based off the theme. Yeah, I know that it's based off FEMA.
I'm going through here. Hey, boost me up.
Oh, shit. Oh, come on, give me the prompt. What are you doing, game? What the hell? Are you serious? Okay, good. Also, like, my channel was recommended on some, like, Left 4 Dead stuff. That's pretty weird. What? What do you mean? Like, you discovered The Last of Us through my channel? Is that what you're saying? Or what? Am I totally not understanding your comment? Jesus, I'm not used to talking this much.
2 of our guys died trying to take Tess out. Guarantee that she and Joel are on their way here right now to get Robert. Jesus.
Man, I forget I have some tea. Gotta drink a bit.
It's creeping around in here.
I read that in like annoying ad announcer voice. Hey, you there, look here. There is some lore. Here is some lore channel or something. Like a bad, like, video game ad voice. There's no listen mode. So, yeah, that's good. I think there's 2 guys in there and there's that guy. So this encounter is not that hard. Fuck you. Also, I was not talking to you, I was talking to this scrub. Let's see, 3 ammo. These guys are just stationary, so... and we haven't unlocked. I might be able... Oh, no, they aren't.
I meant to tell you, I was down on Jordan Street. All these soldiers showed up with a group of about 5 civs, all in handcuffs.
Let me guess. Fireflies?
Yep. They lined them up against the wall and bang, bang, bang. They just executed all of them. Yeah, I hear it's like that all over the city.
This is a gamble. Okay, that's good. Tess has my back. Do you think Joel's lie will have heavily impact the relationship? Well, yeah, it's basically been confirmed by this point that Ellie did see through that lie, but I don't necessarily think that that lie will impact the relationship, but I think that, well, it's a part of that lie, of course, but what will probably have an impact on the relationship between them is Marlene's death. Since, well, that is basically a part of the lie, right? Well, while Marlene and Ellie might not be that close, Marlene was still like the only person that had some semblance to like a parental role in her life, even though like they basically met only a year or so before the game ends, so they hadn't known each other for that long. But Marlene has had a big role did have a big role in Ellie's upbringing, like from afar, as I see it through the lore material, since she knew Anna and well, she was there before Ellie was born and that stuff. So I think she had like this sort of watchful eye roll over Ellie. And well, when you hear what like your one parental figure murdering your other parental figure, I think that would be pretty weird. So I think she will react pretty negatively toward one. I can't say though. But if that comes like forth maybe in a heated discussion or something, in an argument at home in Jackson, it will probably start some shit and some drama, and there we go. There's another The Last of Us story with intrigue and stuff happening in their relationship.
That's the way to do it.
Did I watch the speedrun? No, I haven't. I haven't actually watched any of The Last of Us speedruns. Or I haven't really watched like summaries and stuff, but I'm not the big like speedrunning guy. I mean, I've tried it sometimes with tunghäfta heter det där på svenska. I don't know what it's called in English, but yeah, I've tried speedrunning some of my like old favorite games from when I was little, but let's see if we can grab this guy. Fuck you! Do I still believe that the Seraphites will attack Jackson? Well, not necessarily. I mean, it's a plausible theory, alright, because we do know from the blog post after E3 that something will happen that will make Ellie go out on this crusade of revenge and hate. Ah, shit. No! Come on, let me get to cover. Okay, let's just do the brick bottle stick thing here without the stick. I don't want to waste ammo. Or maybe I do. Ah, shit. Come on! Are you That was a waste of ammo. Where was I? What was I talking? Oh yeah, the Fireflies and no, the Seraphites and Jackson. So something big will happen, definitely, but that might be like a violent act, right? The violent act. I mentioned that in so many of my videos, but I've forgotten it by now because I haven't done a lot of videos.
There's our boy.
It's the obvious choice, right? That the Seraphites will attack Jackson because, well, it's an antagonistic faction, and, well, Neil mentions violence is involved in Ellie's hate crusade, and, well, that put 2 and 2 together and you get that result. But anything that's obvious immediately rings an alarm bell in my mind when it comes to Naughty Dog. So it might be that something happens, especially like to Dina, or like something isolated. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a sacking of Jackson, although that is possible. But like, maybe something happens like out on a patrol. Dina gets grabbed or kidnapped or raped or assaulted by something like that kicks Ellie's hate and revenge into gear. Oh, that's a lot of comments. I gotta stop and read the stuff before I continue. What do I think the new infected type will be like? I don't know. The way I would like it, because I mean, if I could choose, I would pick no new infected type at all. And my gripe with it is that it'll be a continuity error, basically whatever they do. Except if the new infected is something like an ancient bloater or a super bloater or something. Because like Ellie doesn't know what a bloater is when they first encounter one. And David, who's been alive like probably since before the outbreak, doesn't know what a bloater is. So a lot of people in the Last of Us world don't seem to know what a bloater is, which makes it plausible that there is some like even more rare infected type that we don't know about or didn't see. But if there's some like very plentiful infected type like runners or stalkers that is introduced in part 2, I won't like that at all, because that's a continuity error. You can't tell me what you want, but we traveled all over the United States in the first game, and we saw what Fedra had records, what the CDC had records about, and we didn't see any mention, any track, any site or anything about them in the first game. So the only thing that's plausible in lore-wise is an even rarer form of infected than a bloater. Okay, I gotta do this now. Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible. I'm gonna die. Get over here. 14 people, that's a lot. Oh my god. I don't want to embarrass myself now. Brick bottle stick for the win! Okay, good. I can go back to it. Let's read another comment. Oh, in fact, no, I don't want to. You know, I'm not gonna. There's nothing against you or anything like that, but I know a lot of people say that's a possibility, because when you look back to like early concept art for The Last of Us, they did toy around with infected animals, but it's the same problem as with other human infected types, right? It's a continuity error. Why would they only appear in Seattle or 25 years later? A disease, it doesn't evolve that fast. I mean, of course they can do whatever they want, but they can say like this cordyceps fungus evolves in like 10 seconds, and then it's a new fungus that attacks tigers, and then we have infected tigers. But that just would take the immersion and realism out of it. So, and plus on the other side, there is actually infected animals in part 1, and that is those monkeys. But they were just carriers. They weren't infected, like, they didn't have any symptoms. They were like rats and the Black Death. So yeah, I mean, that could be a possibility. I'm just speaking from my opinion, not from what's like a possibility. So of course that could be possible. Where's this last guy? Oh, it's Ruano. Let me just pause. There's a lot of comments. Yeah, I know there's a lot of different types of cordyceps, but the problem is that there should have been sightings, mentions, traces, anything about it in the first game. If there was like infected animals or something along those lines. Okay, there wasn't another guy apparently. Let's get this guy. Okay. I wanna read this comment. The one thing I don't want to happen is for Dina to die and Ellie wants revenge. That is too generic for me. I mean, it might be a bit generic, but it's... Again, The Last of Us is a pretty... When you, like, take out all the interesting character stuff, take out the cool character development of Joel, like the dynamic between him and Ellie, The Last of Us is pretty generic too. When you just like take the basic story concept, it's and Neil did actually say that too. That Naughty Dog makes simple stories with complex characters, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that concept.
Yes, Joel.
That definitely, that is a very good idea actually, Faba, because that could be a clicker but we do have them already. But there could be like Bomb Squad maybe. I mean, that wouldn't be too plausible, but there could be something like that. Rwana, why are you late? Detention for you.
Yeah, sure, but it's complicated.
Look, alright, just hear me out on this. I got
Yeah, trebuchet. That's it. It is pretty. If you take it, I take all the juice out of it, all like cool conversation, dynamic between characters and all that stuff. The Last of Us is pretty dull. It sounds pretty dull when you just like take the basic concept of it.
You owed us. I'd say you bet on the wrong horse.
What do you think about Sweden's new government? Now that's a pretty. I don't know if I should be talking about that. I'm gonna say I think it's pretty shit and leave it at that.
I can't. Just give me a couple.
Maybe Treb, that might be a good punishment.
The Fireflies. I owed the Fireflies.
What?
Well, it depends. Do you have
They're basically all dead. We can just go.
You want to see Bill again in part 2? I would love to see Bill again, but the problem is, if they do introduce him again, it's very hard for them not to do it like in a fan servicey way.
That is a stupid...
Because Bill is still probably very much alive by the time of part 2, but there is no reason to go back east. At least that we know of.
Explain it to them.
So the only thing that could work out without being like a bit fan servicey just to include old characters is through a flashback. But still, I mean,
Why are you here?
it would feel like retreading old like storylines when they could do new stuff. 16 people, holy shit, we're close to the record. God, Jesus. Okay.
I needed him alive.
Oh, it's going to so fast I can't. Oh, it's not that fast, but I get a bit overwhelmed. You must have a thick ass, Faba, if that's it's as thick as armor. Are you a thick boy? Wouldn't Dina dying at the beginning? But I mean, let's put it this way, Baron.
You do that?
Sarah died at the beginning of part 1. Isn't that a bit generic though? Like, it was pretty obvious that she was gonna die.
Well, you're the military. You guys out.
So yeah.
Right about that. I'll show you the weapons. I gotta move. What's it gonna be? I want to see those guns. Follow me.
Well, time jumping.
We gotta get out of here now.
To be honest, I'm quite a bit worried about that because I did say this on Dino's stream. If some of you watched it, but I'm assuming most of you didn't. That I wasn't the biggest fan of the time jumping in Uncharted 4, and that game did it a lot. We had like first we had the prison time stuff when Drake was like what 20 years old maybe with Sam, and they had to get to this map basically, and then you have little Drake and little Sam when they're like teenagers, and then you have the modern day story, and that just felt like too much to me. And I also felt like when they jumped back and forth, like whenever there was like a big thing that happened, like something really dramatic, and you just want like you're on the edge of your seat and you desperately want to know what happens next, and then they freaking throw like a flashback in your face, and I felt that was quite annoying, to be fair. The Uncharted 4 was by no means a bad game, but the time jumping I felt hurt the game a little, in my opinion. And The Last of Us, it's such a well-paced game. I mean, it's not a thing you talk about. The pacing is something you mention if it's bad. You only notice it if it's bad. You don't notice it in a game if it's good. And The Last of Us, it's exceptionally good. So, a lot of time jumping. I mean, Naughty Dog can pull a great game off still, like Uncharted 4, but Uncharted 4 was nowhere near The Last of Us in my opinion. I still am a fan of it, but nowhere near The Last of Us. So that worries me a bit. That was actually in one of my very first videos on my channel. It was called something along the lines of 5 things I don't want in part 2, like some really generic title. But one of the things I said I didn't want was too much time jumping. I really liked said I liked the pacing, and I still stand by that statement. Of course, there could be technically The Last of Us Part 1 has time jumping, right? But it's only forward. I mean, when we experience these chapters in The Last of Us, like now in Boston, it's in summer. It's like what, 2 days in total, and then we jump forward like maybe a week when they get to Billstown, and then even further when we switch seasons. But that's time jumping, right? But it's only forward. The same goes for the prologue. So yeah, that's that was a very lengthy monologue about that. But I am cautiously, I wouldn't say optimistic, but I'm very slightly worried about that, I would say. Okay, there's just been a lot of comments. Just let me pause and see what's happened. Okay, is this game popular in Sweden? I guess it's as popular here as it is anywhere. Rwanda says he thinks it's too obvious if Dina dies in the beginning. I mean, Naughty Dog might go for the obvious thing. What do I think of Jesse? Well, The Last of Us is still about Joel and Ellie, and if you think about all the other characters in The Last of Us Part 1, they're all pretty minor. I mean, even Tess, that follows you for a big part of the game, is a pretty minor character in comparison to Joel and Ellie. So I doubt that Jesse will have that big of a role in Part 2. Of course, I mean, Part 2 is a much bigger and more ambitious game than Part 1. I can't say I have formed like more of an opinion than that he seems like a cool guy or something. Also, do you know that you can't kill that guy before he shoots the Firefly? Just a fun fact. Even if you like aim your gun at him and he doesn't notice you, he just shoots before you can shoot him. That was just a weird sideline. But yeah, I don't really have a concrete opinion on Jesse yet, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's just pause and check some more comments. This is called TLOU-talk, deal with it. Yeah, agree with that, Ravon. I think they will revisit some of the time jumping. I do really hope that we get to see 14-year-old Ellie again, maybe even a younger Ellie, like before she arrived in Boston, because it would be such a cool throwback to the original game. Could you just move out of the way? Thank you very much, sir. That's great. Do I think the two of the timelines will be when Ellie is 18 and 19? I don't know. That 18 timeline might just be like, just the section in Jackson, and I doubt that section is going to be very long. There's no way of telling, right? So, I mean, I could be wrong about that too. That is an option, of course, but I would like it to be something else. I mean, I base that off of opinion, not what's most likely. I don't know. Sorry about that. I just gotta have a sip of my tea because my throat is getting really, really dry from talking this much. A baby Ellie, maybe, says Nightwalker. Well, yeah, I actually made that as a joke. Oh, shit. In one of my videos. I think it was the latest one, actually. But that could be very emotional, right? Because Ellie didn't have any parents when she was, as far as we know. And, like, we could have, like, these horrible stories or sections with her, like, as a really small child. And nobody cares for her, right? And she's alone in this apocalyptic society where it's just survival and nobody cares about a child that's not of their own. That could be really heartbreaking and sad, so that might be a cool thing.
Where are we going, Merlin?
Oh, there's so many comments.
This way.
Jesus. Okay, what do I think the word Seraphite mean? I don't know, but I read in my video when I talked about the Seraphites, it's a variation of the word seraphim, which is mentioned in all of the 3 major religions, and it's a I can't remember what it read, but it's like an angel with wings on their face, and it has something to do with, like, burning. I can't remember more than that, but go check out my video, my videos on the Seraphites if you want to know more about that. Okay, let's check out another what countries do I think still have functioning governments? I don't know if it's canon, but a Naughty Dog artist, I maybe could no, that would take too much time, but I can link that in the Discord or in the chat later. But a Naughty Dog artist did make some art of different European countries, which basically suggested that some of them still have, like, militaries and government facilities that are still, like, functioning, but I doubt that's canon. That seemed more like a personal thing for that Naughty Dog artist. I don't know, but, like, what's like out of likeness, probably like the superpowers, I would guess, still have functioning governments. Like the small Sweden, we're fucked. There's no weapons here. There are no weapons. Our military is tiny, and well, people are just not good at fighting. So we will probably be wiped out immediately. And I think that goes for most of the European countries, and, well, a lot of other countries in the world as well. So probably the superpowers, I would say, still have some sort of functioning government. I mean, if the US was hit that hard, imagine how a smaller country like Sweden would fare.
Verify the weapons. I can get patched up. But she's not crossing to that part of town. I want Joel to watch over her.
Whoa, I don't think that's the best
Ellie.
Since the game is set only... I don't think they said that it would it would only be set in Seattle, but... a large... Neil did say that a large, quote-unquote, large portion of the game would be set in Seattle. And honestly, I am not really a fan of that idea. Because the variation in the environment, like in the seasons, in the stuff we see like big, decrepit metropolises, like Boston, for example. And we see like the woods, and we see the countryside and small towns, and we see everything. And then if we had just Seattle, I think that would take away like a bit from like, also from the journey aspect. The Last of Us is a really like cool journey overall, and just staying for the most part in Seattle, I think that would hurt the game. Of course, I'm not saying The Last of it sounds like I'm hating on The Last of Us Part 2, but it'll be a great game. It'll be an awesome game. But there are some like creative decisions as of now I'm not really a super big fan of, like that one, for example. Okay, let's read another comment. Let's see. Who the hell is the mystery woman? I made a whole video about that. And if I go on talking about that now, there's gonna be a very long monologue, so I'm not gonna do that right now. Go check out that video if you want to know what I think about that. What do you think happened to Iceland and smaller countries after the outbreak? Well, I basically just said something along those lines, but Iceland is a special case because they don't have a lot, as far as I know, a lot of connections to like the outer world, and I think they could very easily like shut down airports and harbors and stuff like that. If you've ever played like the mobile game, like it's called Plague Inc., I think, Iceland is the hardest country to... Iceland and Greenland, I think, are the hardest countries to wipe out with your disease. And I think that goes the same for in The Last of Us. They might be fine, but smaller countries like in Europe, I think, are fucked. If there's any like survivors, they're probably like civilian survivors, like in The Walking Dead. I think most of the governments must have fallen and gone. As I've said, I think the superpowers still have some semblance of government, like the United States. But you gotta realize the U.S. has a like really powerful government and like a lot of police forces and agencies to protect itself. And they still got hit very, very hard, as we can see in The Last of Us. And like knowing like about Sweden, like how our like home defense is, like we have a military, of course, and disaster preparation, but nowhere near the scale of the United States. So I think we would be fucked, to be honest.
Not that has anything to do with anything.
Okay. Well, yeah, of course, I think there would be, like, I don't think every single person would die off and get infected in smaller countries, but I just think, like, the governments would probably have a hard time not falling. So somewhere, like, north in Sweden, where they're, like, is really, really sparsely populated, people could definitely survive and have some sort of society. This is also one of those things, like, some of these textures outside are just so bad. But I suppose you're not supposed to see them or look at them for too long. You're just supposed to go in here. Canada is the biggest country, but not a lot of population. Well,
What am I supposed to do?
yeah, I guess there could be. I mean, there is an advantage to being a sparsely populated countries. But if you look at Europe, a lot of small countries, like small size-wise, that's pretty funny. I mean, England is a lot smaller than Sweden in geographical territory, right? But it has a lot more people, and they're very tightly cramped together. Oh, what's up, Urban? Just...
Yeah, me too.
I'm doing good. A lot of people are also doing good, from what I can judge. Okay, there's so many comments.
Well, I've never been this close to the outside.
When do I think we'll see the next footage? I already answered that earlier in the stream. I think it's on a separate like live event, like some sort of like Bethesda like marketing, where they do like a weird stream and then they launch a trailer, something like that.
Sorry it took so long.
Jesus, my throat is dry.
She'll make it.
One of my friends found out that if we decompose the word Seraphite, Sarah meant fight, not fight. Oh yeah, I've heard that theory before, that like the Seraphites are a whole faction of immune people, and I'm not so sure about that, to be honest. I mean, 17 people, we're so close to like the record I've had on this streaming thing. What's my favorite Part 2 trailer so far? It has to be the reveal trailer. The gameplay was cool and all, but nothing can top the excitement I felt like with the reveal trailer. I was just like out of my mind. I was sitting in my room, like I live still with my parents. I'm a scrub, I know. But I was like just watching PlayStation Experience, and I was like, fuck. There would be. I remember that 18 people, so close. I remember there was like these rumors going around like just before PSX that The Last of Us Part 2 would be announced, and that was like, I was going crazy about that. And when it eventually turned out to be true at the end of PlayStation Experience, I was just screaming at the top of my lungs, The Last of Us 2, The Last of Us 2, it's real. And that was, even though the gameplay was so cool, the excitement didn't top that excitement, and I guess that's why it's my favorite trailer. My least favorite trailer is probably the Paris Games Week one, because to be honest, I didn't know it was The Last of Us until the very last second. Like when the clickers came out, like I watched almost a 5-minute trailer, and I couldn't see it was The Last of Us. I was just confused by it, and I think it was a weird move on Naughty Dog's part overall. And it was a cool trailer, alright, but for The Last of Us, I think, no, I'm not the biggest fan of that trailer. Okay. Oh my god, there's so many comments, I'm not used to this. How often do I replay The Last of Us? So like a year and a half ago, this is gonna sound crazy, but I played it. Sometimes I even played it more than once a month, but usually like once a month I did play it. So that's why I've played it so freaking many times. I've played it like, I stopped counting at around 40 or 50 times. Which is a very good thing, right, when I do videos, because I know the game like in and out, so I can go through it in my head, and I can like just think about a scene I want to write about, and I like know what the characters say, I know what artifacts are there, which is a good advantage. But I know, yeah, I have no life. I've played it so freaking much. But right now, this is my first time playing the game at all for like 2 months. I've been so burnt out on it.
This is Ramirez at Sector 12.
I'm afraid that the game will have long cutscenes. What do you think, says Halfdan. 19 people, that's a record right now. That is so cool. Well, that is kind of a Naughty Dog thing, right? To have these long cutscenes, and it's both a plus and a minus, because they're really well acted out, and their facial animation and all that is amazing. But at the same time, taking control away from the player so often and for so long is pretty annoying. It for a casual fan, right? That's where all the criticism comes from, right? When they say like, "Oh, The Last of Us is just like a movie. It's not a real game." So
smuggling an infected girl?
I would not have a problem with longer cutscenes, but I think reviewers and casual fans would.
You better explain fast.
Oh my god, Jesus, I can't keep up with these comments.
It's 3 weeks old.
No, everyone turns within 2
Would you prefer
bullshitting.
Ulf Kristersson, Jimmie Åkesson, or Stefan Löfven as Prime Minister? I won't answer that because of not alienating people and stuff. The teaser dropped on your birthday, says Rwano. That's a good birthday present. The Paris Games Week trailer was by far the worst. I would have to agree. Oh, is Nick here? Nivan Age, I see. Oh, what's up? The Last of Us, or Dean is here. I was on Dean's stream a couple of days ago. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to The Last Tofus, or Dean. Go subscribe to his channel. He makes a lot of speedruns and cool. Has a lot of really insightful ideas and theories about The Last of Us Part 2. And Part 1. Okay. Let me just run past this and then I'll pause the game and... come on. Okay, I'll check. I thought Ellie just said urban. Well, who knows? What's my favorite scene? I did make an entire video about that, but it's basically... You know when Joel and Ellie... It happens 2 times. But when they go like to this viewpoint, both over Boston toward like the Capitol building, and in Salt Lake City, and Joel goes up to Ellie and says, is that everything you hoped for? And it has this very nice dynamic. I'm not gonna get into that, you can watch the video, but it has a really cool dynamic and shows a lot of character development for Joel, I think. So just watch my video on that. What's up, Epic Mackay? I am sorry I didn't say hey to you. There should be a sandbox feature like Dying Light, custom levels and co-op. My dream is for a I don't think the campaign can ever be co-op. That's not just a Naughty Dog thing, but my dream would be a narrative-focused co-op mode, not just a simple horde mode, but like I would like to play like as a soldier in a quarantine zone that's falling apart due to like a riot or something, and then have that like as a flowing narrative, like, but depending on how well you perform, like infected might break through the fences or rioters might get to the command center, and you have like the end goal is to evacuate, right? And depending on what you do, like the zone falls and everyone dies, or you manage to evacuate people, civilians, all that stuff. I would love that as a co-op mode. I don't think it's gonna happen, but that would be very cool. A co-op mode is definitely coming. They were working on one for part 1. And, sorry. They were working on one for part 1, and they did make a co-op mode for Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy. So, there's no doubt about a co-op mode coming, but I don't think I will get my, my dream co-op mode. Okay. Try playing with Italian language, like voice lines. That would be ridiculous. I could try that next stream. Do you think that we'll get to see Ellie's life in Jackson? Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what Neil said in his blog post, right? Ellie has like I can't remember the exact wording, but he said something along the lines of Ellie lives a life of normalcy in Jackson until it's all interrupted by a violent act. So we will definitely see something along those lines. It's basically been confirmed. Your favorite scene is the giraffe scene. Who doesn't love giraffes? You know, that's a very powerful scene as well. I mean, on a serious note. So, I mean, I know a lot of people have that as a favorite. I think it's a very good one. It's up there, but it's not my favorite one.
Shit. I got more soldiers.
Target's still on the loose, sir. Break off pursuit and report back to Sector 11.
Urban only says she only saw giraffes in multiplayer recently. Oh, that's cool. They weren't actually there for the PS3 version. I did watch like that panel, and they wanted to put them in the PS3 map, but didn't have enough like RAM or something to accommodate. That was basically a very useless fact, but yeah, now you know that.
No, they're still around. But take a moment.
Who's my favorite character in The Last of Us?
Joel, see if there's anything.
I did sort of talk about that a bit earlier, but It's quite a generic answer to say like a split between Joel and Ellie, but it's really like that. Just a quick summary of what I said earlier. It was at first I really loved Ellie, and then I like during these later years I've come to like Joel a bit more. So I guess you could like split it and say I like both. I absolutely. Nick says, sorry if I pause it. I gotta drink more of my tea. Feels like I'm gonna get throat cancer from talking too much. Yes, that is a good point, Nick. Post the link in the chat so people can join it. I like the fact, says Urban. Oh, you're welcome. I absolutely agree. I would love the option to use the infected as weapons if there was ever to be co-op. It could be like invasions from Dying Light. Yeah, that would be a very cool thing. Still, we gotta... I remember we talked about playing Dying Light together. We gotta do that sometime. Do I think that The Last of Us Part 2 will only take place in Seattle? No, it won't. A large part of it will take place in Seattle, according to Neil, but the entire game won't take place there. Do I believe the Seraphites believe in a kind of god or just a human? Well, it might be like the Roman Empire, where the emperor was basically a living god.
What then?
So you know that woman on the mural in the gameplay demo that may her guide you. It says underneath that may be like their faction leader, and they might think that she is a god, like their god. So well, it's a combination of both, I would guess.
Key to finding a vaccine.
Oh, Jesus.
It's what she said.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Am I gonna play The Last of Us Part 2 on my channel? Well, definitely. That is a hard yes. Is that even a thing? A big yes.
What if?
A large yes.
I mean, we've come this far. Let's just finish it.
Do I need to remind you what is out there?
I get it.
Naughty Dog has to show Joel before Part 2 comes out. Yeah, they definitely will. They did say something along those lines. Well, there still has to be this grumpy Texan who has yet to make his debut or something. I think they wrote that in some article ways back during E3, so he will definitely be shown before the release. How long do I think the Jackson part of the game will be? Probably like the quarantine zone part, maybe, in part 1. So maybe like, what, 30 minutes, 40 minutes? A fat yes, a thick yes, an obese yes.
I guess this is what these buildings look like up close. They're so damn tall. So what happened here?
The hell out of the surrounding areas to the quarantine zones, hoping to kill as much of the infected as possible.
This is actually very interesting. I think I would so love. That would also be like, okay, I gotta show this. There's this artifact over here. I would love it so much if we actually look at this. This is like they probably dropped these like from the air, like a warning that these places would be bombed, which is why it looks this way. Imagine like a part. I know it doesn't make sense, like story-wise and all that stuff, but imagine a part like at the very beginning of the outbreak, like maybe a week after Sarah's death, that we get to see like a major city, like chaos, I can't pronounce that word, everywhere. And then like when things seem like they can't get worse, like there's infected everywhere, fires, and just like total like pandemonium. Like the Air Force rolls in and they bomb the shit out of everything, and there's just like the lights go out at night and people like basically the first season of Fear the Walking Dead. That would be so cool. It would be freaking horrifying, and it would make for an amazing moment. But that's probably not gonna happen because it doesn't make sense to go back that far when Ellie is the main character. I think that is a very good idea. as Nick posted there in the chat. I don't know if he wrote it out, but I remember the thing he told me. Yeah, everybody who's not joined the Discord, you should join it. It's a good way to know what I'm up to. Like when you're just sitting there, like in your afternoons, and you wonder, I wonder if the iPadCat has died, or if another one of his cats has died and he's just gone. Okay, that was a pretty bad joke, but no disrespect to my own cats, but right now, why I'm gone that I'm not uploading is because I'm working on a big project, which you can get to know more about if you join the Discord. That sounded weird. I love my cats. I really, really loved Sessan was her name. That was a dumb joke. I've just moved past it right now, so I can't say stupid things about it without getting sad.
That's what years of professional duty.
So what, are they blind?
Sort of. They see using sound.
Like that?
Like that. If you hear one click, you gotta hide. They'll spot you.
The building feels like it's about to fall apart. Watch your head.
Okay, so I can run this with tops like maybe half an hour more than I promised my friends. I gotta go out and have some pints, some beers, maybe some shots, who knows. Yeah, that's quite funny how he actually just goes and touches it. Yeah. Taken out of context, that sounds really weird. Drunk iPad incoming, yeah, but there is definitely a drunk iPad incoming.
Search for supply. Oh, that was intense.
You said it.
I wonder if I still have that shiv.
Here, catch yourself up.
Appreciate it.
Great. Let's go for another shiv. You can never have too many shivs. Let me just go, wait, I'll be right back. Like 2 seconds. Jag kan inte lämna den här så länge. Alright, I am back. Have you missed me yet? Or did you miss me? My English is not always on point. 13 people? Jesus, I only was away like 30 seconds.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Oh man. I mean, I don't know why I even go check this box out. There's never anything there, even on the easier difficulties.
Just see if there's a way through.
You missed me so much. I missed you too. Well, we did talk on the Discord. Oh, you mean right now? Okay, I totally miscalculated that. This is getting weird. Text is so small, I can't read it.
Go on, big guy.
That sound was definitely from a clicker, but it was in my house. I just keep him down in the cellar. I don't want to start an outbreak or anything.
Clicker?
let me just send a text to one of my friends real quick. Just a moment. Okay. I gotta go, it's been fun. Well, thanks for tuning in, Trailer Park. It's been good having you. Would you rather be in a room filled with clickers or a building filled with Bill's hidden traps? Definitely the traps. I think clickers is 100 times worse because traps are stationary and, well, clickers will kill you instantly or infect you. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a pretty easy one to answer, I think.
I think that's it. Ellie, you okay?
What the hell are you talking about in the chat? Use your tongue for what? You can do the clicker sound. Oh, okay. That sounded a bit weird for a second.
Alright. Come on.
The stairwell's blocked. Should we go back up?
No, let's go out here.
Just don't look down.
Are you serious?
You thought I was gonna leave? Well... I don't know where I was going with that. Also, I wonder if we... It's gotta be like one of these buildings, right? When they a bit later, when they stand and they like admire the view, because it's like the same, it's almost the same view as now. So it's gotta be like one of these buildings, like when you exit the museum. The clickers seem to be big Uganda Knuckles fans. Dead meme.
Runners.
Yes, I know about weapons. Thank you very much. This is not gonna go well. I can tell you that in advance. Oh, this is embarrassing. I can't even remember the way down. Jesus. What the hell was that? Did you hear that? I've never heard them do that sound before. So like when you're sneaking up on humans, it doesn't matter at what speed you're going on. But when you sneak up on infected, you have to go like really slow. Hate this part on Grounded, I do too. I'm probably not gonna get past this today. Whenever I stream next time, we'll just pick down... We'll just pick up where we left off. Okay, I'm dead. Oh, that's not good. That's not good! Come on. Ah. This is not what. Yep. This is going worse than expected. Come on. Oh no. Ah, I am dead. that was a real show of skill, don't you think? Not so many questions right now. That's good because my throat is gonna die from all the talking. Okay. Oh my god. How did I not see that guy? Ah, I'm dead. Yeah. Come on! Jesus, this shouldn't be as hard to get by. I've played this multiple times on ground and I've gotten past it. Come on. I'm just rusty. People are leaving in droves. I'm so bad. Well, it's good. I'm gonna wrap it up pretty soon anyways. iPad, are you German? No, I am Swedish. I want to learn German though. Let's just try this. Oh my god. Come at me, bro. As long as I have a brick and a stick, I'm alright. Have a brick. Okay, now I don't have a stick. I need to get the stick. See, that's a very good way of doing this. There we go.
All right, come on down.
That's the brick bottle stick for ya.
Let's just get out of here.
Wait, what are you talking about, Alex? I was just reading chat, sorry. I love the changes of the enemy's facial expressions when you strangle them. Done on PS3. What? Oh, you mean that the game is developed for PS3. I get it.
All right, Tess, go.
Alright, hold on.
The Last of Us Part 2 will be impressive on PS4, definitely. You don't understand why it's a PS exclusive? Well, because Sony bought Naughty Dog like 20 years ago. And they want customers to have an incentive to buy their console. Is that simple enough for you? Ross and Oliver LLF. Sounds like a cool company. Well, they don't... Well, not necessarily by releasing it on PC. They want people to buy the PlayStation. They don't necessarily want to sell the most copies of the game. They want to sell more copies of their console. Which is probably what makes them the most money.
Brush me off.
Well, this time.
Unbelievable when I see it.
This is simply unacceptable. Well, you gotta have to live with it. I would like for all the games to be available for every platform because that, well, that's just more accessible. It's more democratic. Well, what? And I think it would be awesome if more people would be able to experience the awesomeness of The Last of Us. I don't hold a grudge. I definitely think the Xbox people should. It would be cool if they had access to all the cool Sony games. I think the console wars are just stupid. Same with PC, of course.
Look at his sleeve.
Is this your favorite part, Treb? This has to be your favorite moment in the game, right? Okay, a few more comments. Your PS Plus subscription is over. That sucks. That's so freaking annoying. I wish there wouldn't be this whole PS Plus thing. I think the free games are just a stupid incentive and like a smokescreen for just overcharging consumers. The clicker Easter egg in Dying Light. Well, Dying Light is a very good post-apocalyptic game, though. Not story-wise, but gameplay-wise, it's phenomenal.
God, we're almost out. Okay, Joel, you take point. I'll watch the
Molly. Trebsa's Molly. Well, yes.
You stay sharp.
Okay, about 10 more minutes. If you have some burning questions, you want your favorite YouTuber, I hope I'm your favorite YouTuber, otherwise you can just leave. I'm sorry, I was just kidding. Please don't leave. But yeah, if you do have anything you want me to talk about or answer, do it now, because I gotta leave. I gotta drink some beers. Let's just do it this way. Are you serious? Did you just do that? That was not what I wanted. That was... Are you kidding me? That the brick bottle stick can take on anyone. I want to take this to court. I want to sue Naughty Dog because the brick bottle stick is invincible and I don't care. I gotta redo this so Treb can jack off again to this scene.
These guys aren't doing well.
Am I a girl? Well, I wonder that too sometimes. It's hard to tell, you know, in these times. Would I like to see a military DLC in The Last of Us Part 2? Or you play as the military? I mean, I would love that. But I don't think like the general audience of The Last of Us are that interested in the military. I just find the military and government, like in apocalyptic situations, to be very interesting overall. But I don't think that's the sentiment a lot of people share, so I doubt it would become a reality. But I would like it.
You stay sharp.
Days Gone and The Last of Us. Yeah, that's a good point actually. It's also said like set in like the Midwest there, around the place where Tommy's town is, right? Days Gone, I mean. Please do it again, more mollies. Come here, you little shit. Come on, get over here. Get over here. Isn't that like a Mortal Kombat meme? Oh, perfect. Let's go. Ah, come on. That was not fair. Brick Bottle Stick, I call upon you. Ah, come on. That's not good. That's not good at all. Ah, are you kidding me? Okay, you know what, guys? I know I said like 10 more minutes, but since I died there, and I don't think it's especially entertaining for you to watch all of that again. I think I'll end it here, actually. So, yeah, it was really fun talking to all of you people. And I'll definitely do this again. I think it'll be a part of like my new content strategy. I can play The Last of Us without getting ragey over multiplayer. Really cool seeing all of you here. Yeah, see you soon again, and probably not a video for quite some time, but in another stream soon. I gotta go have some beers. I'll probably see you drunk in the Discord server in a little bit, but yeah. Bye!